Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. I'm Zmore, the dad in DPS, and today we are talking about the public test server and what is going on there. Now, I've avoided talking about it recently because there's a lot to go on. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the patch notes and what we've got here. Now, the Gleaming Depths raid is finally on the PTS, and I'm going to be honest, I have taken some steps into it, and I'm going to flat out say this is going to be something that is very, very difficult to solo. I'm just going to flat out say it for all you solo players out there. You're going to have a really, really hard time here. Now, I'm not saying that it's impossible, because I don't rightly know yet, and the iteration of it that hits live servers will be different inherently than what we currently have. But so far, it seems very unlikely that you're going to be able to solo it for a bunch of different reasons. The first boss that you come up against is incredibly tanky, incredibly powerful, and to try and solo him and make him easier for me to try and look at the content, I just went on my my custom server, pumped up my damage, made it impossible to kill me, and even with 900% health, well, 900% damage, he didn't go down quickly. Like, this guy is the tankiest of tanks. It's a very difficult encounter without those effects that I put on, and yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, and it's going to encourage people to group up, team up, and play together, which I 100% love. I am loving what it is and how it's going to be, but I'm not going to say to anybody that this is not endgame content. This is going to require some top tier gear and some top tier stuff. So you're going to have to fully participate in the legendary crafting system in order to get access to this, because if you go in unprepared, you're going to get completely demolished. So a couple of things about it is it's saying here that it requires teamwork, that it'll challenge in-game builds, there's unique boss fights, there is definitely unique boss fights in there, there's no time gating, and there are high value rewards. Now, this is where we are going to be getting our 4-star legendaries from, and what I can safely say is there are some unique plans in here. There are also the chances to get the actual legendary modules to add onto your weapons and armor. So you are actually going to get a lot of different things out here. One major factor, though, is this is going to be a massive ammo dump. You are going to dump so much ammo into this thing. Yeah, ammo farming is going to be a big factor coming into this. But we do have these kind of things on here. Now, there are a bunch of different things. So the 4-star legendaries are also in the PTS, and there are a bunch of different effects. However, on this little doodah that I've got here, it is not giving us the full range of 4-star effects. So what we're going to do is quickly jump on over to the server and show you those effects before we can kind of continue with this. Right, so let's take a look at the legendary effects that we've got here. So the first one is Bullies, which, when attacking outside of VATS, deal 50% bonus weak point damage. Now that's going to be like headshots, hitting the fusion core at the back of the sentry bots, that kind of thing. Now, this is going to encourage a lot of people who like manual aiming to do stuff, so I think that's a very cool effect. It's going to be interesting to see and to deal with, to say the least. Then we have Conductors. So this critical hits restore 4% of HP and AP for players and teammates within a 50-meter radius. Now, that is going to be a very good one, because that is especially going to be effective during the raids, because if you're a crit player, then you're going to basically be healing and restoring the AP of all your players. If everybody's using that, then it's just going to be a big train of restoring health and buffing your AP, which in theory will allow you to just basically VATS forever if you've got a bunch of people doing it. So that should be a very interesting thing to see. It could be broken and very overpowered, but you know, we'll definitely see when it comes to it. It's going to be difficult to get these 4-star effects, so it's going to be unlikely everybody's going to have it as well. Electricians, when reloading, emit a shock wave that stuns nearby targets for 5 seconds. 10-second cooldown. It doesn't say how close they need to be, but stunning enemies is definitely a cool thing. That's probably more viable on weapons that have low clip capacity. So we'll definitely see how that works. I'm not really that impressed with that one. Encirclers, the greater number of combat targets around you, the greater the damage output. Now I can see that being a very good effect on melee because it's just going to increase your damage. But again, it's probably only going to be really viable against, you know, horde bases, like when there's loads of ghouls, loads of mole miners, loads of whatever. Don't know how good that's going to be, but you know, it's better than a kick in the head. Then this one's a really interesting one. This one I think is going to be really good on the Pepper Shaker. When crippling limbs, they explode and deal up to 150 explosive damage to nearby targets. So yeah, if you don't know, the Pepper Shaker cripples things like mad. Any shotgun, this is going to be a relatively interesting effect, but whether it's going to be good or not, I think we won't know until it's on the server as well. I'm not going to show you these effects in action on the basis that I just don't know how they're going to be, and I don't want people to think, oh, this is going to be good, this is going to be bad, blah, 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 blah. Pinpointers, plus 25% damage when targeting enemy limbs, arms, legs, etc. So with this one, this should be interesting because essentially this is a very good VATS effect that you're going to be able to just use in order to deal more damage in general to enemies, unless the wording here is wrong, but this is giving you extra damage. So this is basically having 25% extra damage in VATS when shooting somebody in the arm, leg. I'd assume head is counted in here, but it doesn't say that, so I'm not 100% sure if the head is now counting as a limb. But again, we'll need to wait and see and get clarified with that. I don't know why it's coming up with that right now. Then we've got Polished. The greater the equipped item condition, the greater the weapon damage. That is interesting because that's a 60% extra damage. So weapons durability effect on that third effect will be incredibly useful with that. The combinations that you can make with that should be quite interesting, but using it on delicate weapons wouldn't be the best idea. But yeah, there is some usability to that. Pyromaniacs, when a combat target is burned, deal plus 50% bonus damage. Now that is going to be very good in tandem with flamers, cremators, bow and arrows, any melee weapon that has burning effects. So there is a lot of utility for that. There's a lot of weapons that would work really well with. Yeah, I'm quite happy for that one. That one's going to be a really cool effect. Plus 50 damage against legendary and raid combatants. Now this effect is going to be, yeah, people are going to make raid weapons. 100% people are going to make raid weapons and use it for specifically going in the raids. That's a very good effect because the raids are very difficult from what I've seen so far. So yeah, definitely like that one. Improves weapon recoil and stability by 50%. That's a kind of... that effect I don't see doing very well. I don't see that effect. Most people won't use that unless they're using a weapon with the most insane recoil and stability issues. But I don't think there's very many weapons that I would clarify as that I wouldn't already use in VATS, which then completely makes that effect irrelevant. So yeah, I think that would probably have made a better 3-star or a 2-star effect on a weapon rather than a 4-star. Yeah, not really upset. Nah. And so this is just the fire version, the poison version of the fire one. Your poison targets, you get extra damage. So that's an interesting one. I do like that. That is very, very interesting. Now we're going to go check the melee ones as well because there should be some melee ones. Alrighty, so Combo Breaker, when dealing damage, 50% to not use AP, 10% chance for auto melee weapons. That's pretty cool. Fencers, 10% melee when one or more teammates are nearby, up to 40% on the full team. Now that is actually a really cool one. That encourages you to team up with people and wail on stuff. That's going to be especially good during boss fights. Fractures, yeah, it's the same thing. Icemen's, apply cryo on hit that slows targets when dealing damage in VAT. Interesting. That's an interesting one. That could actually be quite good. But I'm not 100% certain. I think Fencers and... yeah, Fencers is definitely feels better than that. Then we've got Pounders, 10% damage after each consecutive melee hit on the same target, up to 100. That is a really good one on bosses. Jesus Christ. That is going to be absolutely insane. Yeah, I think Pounders is going to be the one that most people use, to be honest. It's basically Furious, but against bosses. Yeah, you're just going to wail on them repeatedly, so that is just such a good effect. There was an instant. Let's talk about armor effects. Yeah, it needs to stop doing that. It's really annoying me. It came up multiple times. So first off, Battle Lures. Now, this one I just think is an absolutely useless effect. 50% chance to instantly reload when bashing enemies, up to a 75% chance on full stack. I just don't see me bashing an enemy just to reload. I'd rather just reload in that circumstance. I just feel like this is an effect that I don't see a lot of people using. I could be wrong, you know, if you've got a weapon that is, like, for example, this might be usable, really usable, on, for example, black powder weapons. This might actually be black powder weapons viable, but against most weapons, this just doesn't feel like it's going to be a thing. Then we've got bruisers. Melee weapons deal a 5% bonus damage up to 25% on a full stack. Now that is very good. 25% extra damage for melee is just very good. And now that I'm reading this better at full stack, it means like full set of armor. Battle loaders, yeah, that's definitely gonna be very good for people with black powder weapons, because you just bash them until you reload your weapon. But yeah, bruiser's definitely gonna be very good for melee. Then we've got each worn piece reduces the cost of critical hits by 10%, up to 50% of full stack. That is just going to be constant critical effects. That is just going to be constant crits. That is insanely good. Jesus, sweet Christ. Then we've got Miasma. When hit, a poisonous dot cloud harms nearby targets for 10 seconds. Damage dot increases per equipped piece. Now that just depends on how strong the dot is, I suppose. That could be a really good one. That'd be really good with the ones that when you hit, it creates damage effects. You could potentially make a plague armor with that, where you're basically just anything that hits you instantly dies. But again, we'll need to see how that goes. HP regenerates slowly while interiors, 1 point per second. Yeah, mole rats is not going to be used. Mole rat is not going to be used in the most part, though technically it could be a good effect for raids because you're constantly regenerating health. But unless it feels significant enough, I just don't see it. I think people would opt for things like limit breaking or bruisers more than mole rats. Then we've got rangers. Range weapons deal 5% bonus damage. So that's basically just the range version of bruisers. So yeah, that's going to be a very used effect. 25% extra damage for nothing other than just equipping it to your armor is going to be good. AP sprinting cost reduced by 20% while outdoors. I would love that if it was just an overall one, like AP sprinting. That would be very good with cavaliers and on melee. But because only outdoors, I just feel like it's one of those effects that I would benefit more from if I could use it indoors, because it basically then, it's another thing that makes melee not very good in the raids, is that I can't use this in the raid. I can't run around constantly in the raid. Standing still nullifies ballistic damage by 15%, up to, that is, yeah. Any characters using sentinels with this is going to be one big ass tanky mofo. So I expect this is going to be used in the raid. So somebody's going to be wearing this with sentinels and using suppressors, maybe a suppressor's weapon, and just nailing the enemy and just standing there and taking hits constantly. Some very good effects there. So obviously, yeah, we've spoke about the legendary perks. Now we're also going to be getting player titles, which are going to essentially, as you do stuff throughout the wasteland, you're going to earn titles, learn different things. That's going to be from events, raids, you know, seasonal events, quests, all manner of different things. You know, you could be Zemor the Devourer because I ate a million hot dogs. I don't know what the titles are going to be. It's going to be interesting to see what combinations people make. There's going to be some rude combinations there. We all know what's going to happen. It's going to be funny, but at the same time, it's going to be weird. Then we've got some stuff about weapons and armor, where they're reclassifying certain things as light, medium, or heavy armor. don't really know what effect that has. Maybe it reduces, like, heavy armor has a greater damage reduction. I really don't know if they're changing the stats on them. They're just classifying them as different things, so we'll see what happens in regards to that. But Secret Service and Brotherhood Recon are being classified as heavy, which means they are the best at damage reduction for definite. Then they've got things about certain creatures will now drop additional junk, you know, things like mole miners that had shotguns, infinite card players' weapons. Hack and Slash was doing additional damage to a target, that has been fixed. The cats not following dwellers with the camp pets. Then they have also fixed a bunch of perks that they do, you know, already mess with. One of the things I'd say, there's a bunch of perks that are being reduced the amount of ranks that they can get. So for example, batteries included is now going from 3 to 2. We've also got Ordnance Express going from 3 to 2. And I don't see Bandolier there, but maybe Bandolier will be changed as well. I don't know. This is still the PTS, obviously, and things will change. There's also things like Serendipity and the perk that bounces things back. You know, the one, you know what perk I mean. It bounces bullets back. That is also being reduced to 1 perk, as well as Serendipity. So the luck tree is opening up vastly. And this is the thing, a lot of the skill trees will be opening up quite a bit, because perks that were 2, 3 perks are now going down to 1 or 2 or whatnot. So a lot of different things that are going on here. Now, they're talking about camp pets. Say hello to our 2 new fuzzy friends who can bring your camp to life. We're excited to bring camp pets to Fallout 76, starting with a cat and a dog, and yes, you can pet them. You can find your camp pets in the newly updated Dwellers Workshop tab and spawn them by placing the corresponding furniture for the cat or dog, a cat bed or a dog house. Once placed, the animal will follow you around the camp, idly walk, sit in their furniture and use their cat scratcher or digging in their doggy bone mound. The latter furniture items must be placed before you can use them and currently are found in the misc Workshop tab. Cat pets will not follow you in the world. They are just that, a camp pet. You cannot have more than 1 at a time, but you can have 1 pet and 1 ally in your camp. They will not, however, be available for your shelter. To interact with your cat pet, blah 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 blah, dress up your pet by crafting them collars, armor, workbench, customized. As with them being cute dwellers in the camp, you'll also be able to bring items every so often. The pet treasure system allows your fuzzy friend to show love. I'm going to be honest, that's very disappointing. Camp pets were something we were waiting for a while. I'm not even going to bother going up the PTS and showing you them. It's just going to be a cat or a dog in your camp. Very mundane, very meh. And I'm going to be brutally honest with that. I wanted something that follows me around and attacks people and rips their scrotum off. I'm not getting that, so I'm not interested. It is just a camp pet, and granted, I know a lot of you will love this. I know a lot of you will love this, and I do not blame you. If you think this is fantastic, then great. Enjoy it. But I want something. I want an attack dog. I want an attack cat that I can launch at people and stack to their face and they scream and cry. I'm not getting that, so I'm not caring. Then we've got the mutated public events update, where, pardon me, Campfire Tales is now going to be part of the mutated rotation, as is Free Range, Project Paradise, Beasts of Burden, and Safe and Sound, and they're going to have all the relevant effects that are there. I'm not going to go through that. You know what mutated events are like. You know the kind of things that we see. It's the same mutated effects that you get in daily ops. So that is very, very much, you know, what it is. Now we've got more perks that they're updating. So Adamantium Skeleton is going from 3 ranks to 1, which I think is a very good thing. And the limb damage reduction is now going to scale with endurance. All Night Long is going from 3 to 1. And rank 1 perks cost increased from 1 to 2. What? Right. What? I don't know why it says that. Rank 1 perk costs increased from 1 to 2. What? What does that mean? New effect. The positive effects of pre-war alcohol last twice as long. Okay, what does the previous line mean? Like, am I being stupid? Granted, probably, but someone explain that to me. Then we've got Bloodsucker ranks reduced from 3 to 1. It's moved from Charisma to the Endurance section, and rank 1 gains the effects of former rank free. Maybe that's what that thing meant. Maybe that's what it meant. Healing bonus increased from 150 to 200%. Okay. Additional effect benefits now also apply to Cannibal. Ooh, so blood affects Cannibal now. Cannibal is going from free to 1. Increase the healing received and hunger stored at rank 1. Cap Collector is going from free to 1, and it now applies to all containers, not just cap stashes. New effect, the amount of caps found scales with luck, which is pretty cool. First Aid is going from free to 1. New effect, Stim Pack healing scales with int. That's kind of cool, but you know, it depends on if they've reduced the amount that the Stim Packs heal by. 4-leaf clover, ranks reduced from free to 1. Misses and VATs contribute to the critical meter based on luck. Now that is interesting. That is definitely interesting. Hard Bargain is reduced from free to 1 and now grants +7 charisma when bartering with NPCs. Junk's Shield is reduced from free to 1 and now works with power armor. Additional effect now also scales with luck. Junk Shield still isn't that great of an effect. I mean, who's carrying a lot of junk around with them? However, this does encourage you to do something very funny. Modules have weight. Modules are junk. Modules you can carry. So you just carry like a load of modules with you, because when you die you don't drop them. So just carry modules with that, and essentially it's free stuff. Free, you know, damage mitigation. So that could actually be usable. I'd need to test that when it comes live. But it's interesting to think. Life Giver rank now free from to 1 and improves HP from endurance. So the more endurance you have, the more HP you get from Life Giver. That is going to be a very good perk, and because it's only a 1-star perk, I'm going to use that. Definitely going to use that. Lone Wanderer is now going from free to 1. That's definitely a great change. Lone Wanderer has been an absolutely pish perk for the longest time because it was extra cost and it didn't really benefit you that much. New effect, AP regen and defense bonus based on charisma. Interesting. It gives a reason to use charisma, I suppose. And Night Eyes removed requirement for the time of day. Okay. Professional Drinker, ranks removed from free to 2. Ricochet ranks free to 1. Oh, new effect on Ricochet. Now increases deflect chance based on luck. Deflect chance to reflect 100% of the damage of ranged attacks back to the attacker and reduces the damage you take from the attack by 50%. Deflect chance receives a bonus when wearing heavy armor or power armor, plus 50% multiplier. While in power armor, the amount of damage reflected is double. Now that's a very interesting change, because that basically means that when you're using Ricochet in Secret Service armor and in the Brotherhood Recon armor, you have a lot more chance to, well, a better chance of deflecting and reducing the damage. Because from what I understand here, deflect chance receives a bonus while wearing heavy armor or power armor, which means in the heavy armor you're getting like 150%. Whereas in power armor, you're getting 200%. That's really interesting. That's definitely really interesting. Bullet Shield moved from strength to endurance, added a 4th rank. Okay. New effect, 5% chance per rank to deflect range attacks for 6 seconds when firing a heavy weapon. Interesting. Serendipity, it's now a luck perk. Well, it's not now a luck perk, it's now a perk that scales with luck. Now increases evade chance while under 30% of life based on luck. Luck evade provides a chance to avoid all incoming damage from direct attacks. Evade can happen once every 2 seconds. It cannot happen when over encumbered or while in power armor. So yeah, that's kind of, we knew that was a case with Serendipity. It couldn't be used in power armor, but that's certainly interesting. That allows you to avoid stuff. Then we've got Evasive, that is now returned to a 1-star perk, and it gives you the evade chance based on Agi. That is very good. Evasive going down that way. Start Genes reduced from 2 to 1, moved from luck to endurance. Okay, very interesting. Rank 1 now provides the benefits of former rank 2. And Through Hiker moved from agility to endurance. So endurance is getting a lot more perks that are very viable, very powerful in it. I'm actually quite happy with a lot of those changes. That's very interesting, but we'll definitely see. Combat balance. Adjustments to explosive visual effects. We've reduced the radius in which the flash screen... Yes! Like, this, I'm not even going to, like, read the rest of that. They're basically making it so that you don't blind yourself with weapons as much. And you can see all the effects that are here that are being changed. Then we're getting weapon damage buffs. Again, I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but there is a lot of weapons that are getting buffed. A lot of weapons that are really cool here. I'm seeing that bows are on here. We've got the shotguns are on here. Gauss rifle is on here. Really? You're buffing the Gauss rifle? Jesus Christ, that thing is going to smash a hole through everything. We recognise that the initial update to the Gauss shotgun, originally 105 to 104, was not sufficient in making it damage with blah 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 blah. Yeah, so Gauss shotguns are maybe going to be back in the like fun times. I don't know if that's a good thing that they're buffing the dragon, because if you get that 4-star effect that allows you to punch things and reload instantly, Jesus Christ, it's gonna be like punch, punch, punch. That's gonna be stupid. I look forward to testing that. I really look forward to testing that. It might actually make those weapons viable. Weapon mod adjustment. So they've adjusted the beta wave tuner, gamma wave emitter with the following weapons. They've reduced dot damage in a lot of cases. So basically that's a nerf to the beta wave and the gamma wave emitters. They have also adjusted AP cost for a lot of things. I think all of it is reductions. So we're getting an overall reduction with everything. Plasma Caster and Pepper Shaker are the two main ones that I'm looking at there. That is going to be insane. Gauss minigun and VATS. Oh dear God. That reduction there is insane. That is insane. Because you put the AP reduction perk on that weapon. Oh my God, that's going to be insane. We're going to be able to use so many heavy weapons in VATS a lot more viably. Mutations address an issue where Eagle Eyes mutation would gain twice the intended benefit from straight numbers perks. Address an issue. So this is just generally fixing things that weren't working for the mutation. So a bunch of good fixes there. A bunch of fixes where things were doing more damage, less damage. I think overall that's just a general, rework and fix. Not anything too ridiculous. These enemies previously shared weapons with players and now use enemy specific variants of that weapon. As a result, these weapons can no longer be looted. So there's going to be a lot of enemies that don't drop stuff anymore. Like don't drop weapons. So that means that we are going to have to learn plans from scrapping legendaries rather than scrapping regular items. That's going to be hard for newer players, I think, more than anything else. But they did say additionally they're going to be giving more loot. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about that one. That one's going to be a bit more difficult for newer players, though it might just encourage them to craft like a weapon that they really want the plans for and then just scrap a load of them. But yeah, it's going to be less heavy crap in my inventory, I suppose. That's actually going to be easier for events like Eviction Notice, because then I'm only getting legendaries. I don't need to scrap a load of nonsense. Yeah, don't know how I feel about it. Don't know how I feel about it at all. The following magazines have been updated, and this is just a general buff for magazines. I'm not going to go through every single one because I will leave a link to this down below. But there are buffing a lot of magazine effects, or reducing it. But we'll definitely see bug fixes and miscellaneous adjustments. Super Mutant Suicides wouldn't drop mini nukes. Health and resistance for the Scorch Beast Stream, and blah 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 blah, weren't using updated values, right? So they're fixing that. Shotguns previously would lose durability per pellet per shot, and shotgun durability has yet to be updated to match the lower durability impact. So they're giving shotguns better durability. NPCs using laser rifles can occasionally deal unexpected high damage. Okay, that's a good one to fix if an enemy is just randomly murdering you. PTS players will have all perk loadouts and camp slots by default. Blah blah blah. Benefits to buy and sell from NPCs. Charisma no longer capped at 25. Okay, so you can have like ridiculous amounts of charisma and do stuff there. Damage dealt by damage reflection, blah blah. Dialogue box is now shown if any perk cards were unequipped during. Right, that's fine. That kept popping up. That was really annoying. Quantity of item being scrapped. This also requires to creating items. Update the scrap confirmed dialogue box. Yep. If any mods can be learned from scrapping. What? I don't get that. The complete item name is now displayed correctly. It feels like that. Like a lot of these should be part of a longer sentence, but yeah, I don't know. Weapons and armors, civil unrest, and bunker buster no longer incorrectly display as a 5-star legendary weapon. Added tags for the following headwear item types. So we're not going to talk about that. Weapon armor mods fixed issue where multiple armor parts with the effect did not stack. I don't get. There's a lot of stuff here that just doesn't. Weapon and armor mods. Burnt Vault 63 security helmet. What does that mean? Like, some of this stuff just doesn't make a huge amount of sense. And then when you get down here, you're obviously seeing Flamer Nozzle Scrap to Learn, converts weapon to Flamer style things. Updated Beam Splitter to work similar to other splitter mods. Now fires +4 projectiles instead of flame projectiles. So see this. Right. That should be part of the same thing. Like, that should... Like, why is that 2 different bullet points? They are the same bullet point. Like, they are the same bullet point, as is this. Like, I'm assuming the following are no longer considered costumes. That is the same fucking bullet point. Then it just comes to handmade. Like, the way they've formatted this stuff is just fucking really annoying. It makes it very difficult to read without looking like a moron. And granted, I figured it out, but I shouldn't have to... Like, it should be a bullet point, and then everything part of that bullet point should be underneath it in the same thing. It should... That's the whole point of bullet points. You make different points. They are the same fucking point. You don't... Herd Mentality Serum, updated the description to include proximity to teammates is irrelevant? Okay. Just, yeah. There's a lot of stuff. I would recommend that you head on over and read it. There's a lot of very, very, very confusing and annoying stuff. Like, look at here. Text-to-speech, blah, 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 blah. Text-to-speach, blah, 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 blah. It just... They really need to work on their format, and the person who did this is an absolute pain in the arse. But there's a lot of cool changes here, a lot of cool things there. It's given me the rage trying to read through it properly anymore. So yeah, we'll end it there. Now, what I'll say, guys, is there's a lot of changes here, a lot of cool things. I'm going to show you the first fight on the PTS of the new raid dungeon. I managed to get my character on my custom server and annihilated them, so I can show you what you get from it. The raid is too difficult to do, so 100%. Even if you're invincible and you've reduced the enemy damage down, you can't solo through this. You need other people to play with you. I didn't have anybody to do it, so I can't show you the whole thing, at the moment at least. But don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Enjoy watching this boss die, and I'll catch you all next time in the Wasteland. I've dropped all pretense. There's no way we are soloing this. That is a very good thing, because I am not using armor that is designed to maximize damage mitigation. I'm not doing anything in order to make myself min-maxed here. This just isn't what I have in this character. So what we've done, we went on to a custom server and ramped up my damage and made his damage non-existent. And we're just going to show you what you get out of killing him, which is the main kind of thing that I think a lot of people are interested in. So we can no longer be damaged. So it means I can just wail on him and we'll take him out really quickly. And even you're seeing, this is me with 900% damage. And he's not going down quick. Like 900% damage. This is the damage of 9 people shooting at him at the one time. And take into consideration, you can only have 4 people shooting at him at the one time. So this is 900% damage, and he still hurts like... Well, I say hurts. And we're getting to see the different mechanics. So he's got these little plasma spheres that he sends out when you get him to a certain amount of health. Which is kind of interesting, and this gets a way for people to see his mechanics. So the pillars are very important. if you are not doing enough DPS to him, once these pillars are gone, then I'm going to assume that these spheres basically one-shot you. And now we're seeing as well that he has spawned laser turrets. So that's quite cool as well. We have a lot of different things that we've got there, and you can take out the laser turrets apparently individually, so that's good information to have. So we've got a bunch of different mechanics. This is something I've actually been waiting for from Fallout 76. I've wanted these mechanics in the game for the longest time, because this is proper boss mechanics. This gives us more of a reason to have healing mechanics. And you're seeing the floor gets electrified, so you don't want to be in the middle. I don't know how Melee is going to be able to take part in this fight. I don't see Melee being anywhere near capable of dealing with this guy. This feels like a very unfair fight for anybody that's running Melee, unfortunately. I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. Now let's see, does he drop anything? No, we get this little cool screen up. So we get caps, we get cartridges, we get buff out. Let's see, did we get... Oh, we got legendary modules. You also get the you get legendary effects off of them. That is very interesting. And then we get a raid trophy, which we might look at the end of the video, but we'll kind of stop worrying about that too much.
In a world that's broken, oh so fine, Bethesda built a sweet design where ghouls and super mutants sway to doo-wop rhythms night and day. In Diamond City's neon glow, the radio plays tunes we know from the pre-war days to now. It's a doo-wop dream, I'll tell you how. Swinging through the ruins, love's not lost. In every nook, in every frost, we dance, we laugh, we reminisce in this post-apocalyptic bliss. Bottle caps may be our goal.